5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
They've landed.
You're in the right place. Online, on the web, and on air. All over the world.
Talk Radio.
You hear us, we hear you.
That's what I put on. Hiya everybody and welcome to the show. Tonight we have a mixed bag for you. We've got hopefully, if they contact me, we've got a couple of Americans coming on talking about the Mars Codex. And later on we have Barrie John. Steve's just trying to get his sound.
I'm hearing absolutely nothing.
But you was earlier.
I was earlier.
So, can you hear us in the chat room? Can you let us know, please? If there's anybody in the chat room. 1 2 1 2. You're not hearing yourself.
I'm hearing absolutely nothing.
Bear with us, guys.
It was there earlier. I'm hearing nothing now.
Hello.
You just muted it.
Right.
Yeah, can you hear us, Andy? Hope so, because I'm hearing absolutely nothing. I heard that.
What?
I heard you go, dun, dun, dun. I got it now.
Good.
I don't know where it went.
Computers. What are we going to do with them? Well, good evening. Oh, hello. Hold on a second, guys. Hang on. We're going live and doing a check by the looks of it. Hello.
Hi, this is George.
Hiya. Oh, God. I've just started the show, George, so we'll get back to you about 9 o'clock, okay? It's about half hour's time.
Very good. I was just using this to see if it worked.
Yeah, it's working fine, so I'll speak to you then.
I'll see you at 9.
Okay then, bye-bye. It's one of them nights.
At least we're going to get George.
At least we're going to get George. I don't know. So
Yeah, Andy said it keeps freezing.
it keeps freezing.
Yeah, the picture's frozen.
Hello. Can you see me? Shall I just wave? Looks like all of us need to refresh. Let me refresh it. You refresh as well. So let's try again. Great stuff. It's got to be down to the bloody weather again. There's only Andy on. I feel bloody stupid. There's only Andy on. Right, how does that sound, Andy? Are we back again? Because we've lost our sound man, unfortunately.
Hello, he says.
So can you hear us okay? And we're working all right? Yes, good. That's okay then. Well, it looks like we've got George, so we'll speak to him in a little while. So we hope you've had a good week. The weather has been atrocious. We're hoping that with the big winds that we've got at the moment and the torrential rains, everything's going to be fine. You know what atmospherics are like.
Yeah.
We had that problem last week.
We did.
So hopefully everything's going to work all right tonight. And Andy's been genning up by the sound of it on this Mars Codex thing. So he's interested to find out what's going on. And I hope we get a few more listeners tonight because I want some phone calls if I can. So I need people to help me out with questions. So which will be good. So as I say, we've also, I don't know if you've noticed on Facebook at all, but there's been some news about the true story of Annabelle. People are saying that they're going to make a film of it for some reason. So if you've watched The Conjurer, the evil possessed doll that was in The Conjurer, and basically they're saying there's supposed to be a movie or something. There's talk of a movie coming surrounding this doll, is what some people are saying. So we'll have to look out for that. totally fascinated. Andy's totally fascinated. Well, you could be the only one, boy. So, but you're here, we're here, and that's all that matters. And we're recording it for listen again purposes. So hopefully people are listening to that. Just turn this up a bit so you can hear us okay. So, Steve, what's been going on in the land of observations? Let's get on with it.
1 second there. That's better. I can see it better now. Here we go. I got a couple of funny ones.
Mm-hmm.
Well, maybe not so funny. Here we go. Filipino Satanist poses next to dying pensioners. In the Manila, Philippines, a self-proclaimed Satanist Filipino nurse has been fined $1,300 by a Swiss court after posting photographs on her Facebook account showing her posing with dead and dying pensioners in a nursing home in St. Gallen, Switzerland, where she is employed. According to Huffington Post, United Kingdom Blaze Binder, 37, who had a Facebook pseudonym of Ghost in the Dark Stanna Blaze, asked her Facebook's 2,000 friends if the people she posed with are dead or dying. Binder also said that she was harvesting souls and posed in a nurse's uniform outside an ambulance, and other photos as latex-clad dominatrix, which is another one of her listed professions in her Facebook page. The Swiss Association of Nurses say they were shocked and upset at the images of Binder posted. Relatives of the pensioners who aired their grievances towards the Filipino nurse, who described herself as the Queen of Pleasures. The images must instantly disappear from the internet. 66-year-old Rude Ferrer, son of one of the pensioners in Binder's photos, said, despite the outcry, Binder seemed nonchalant about the issue. I can put anything I want in my Facebook. It's mine. People who doesn't want what I post can juzz up and die death in normal. Death is normal, and people die all the time. Binder responded in one of the comments on her page. The said Facebook account has been inaccessible since Tuesday afternoon. So it sounds like Facebook decided to go bye-bye. Now,
there has been Facebook problems.
There has indeed. Here's one for the kids.
Okay.
Lego announces 30th anniversary Ghostbusters set.
Yay!
A fan-created product pitched by Brent Waller has been given the go-ahead to become an official set. The set will feature a model of the Ecto-1, as well as 4 minifigures portraying the paranormal exterminating foursome. On the picture I saw, they also had the fire station. Plans for the new design were announced today, January 30th, in Lego Kusu's Fall 2013 review results video, they said. The design is already in development and the product is expected to be released later this year. This marks the 30th anniversary of the first 1984 Ghostbusters movie starring Mr. Aykroyd, Murray and Remus. And last year, Aykroyd told Digital Spy that the upcoming Ghostbusters 3 film is likely to utilise 3D. Emma Stone and Jonah Hill have been linked with the sequel, which is currently in development. Right,
well, everyone's looking for this long-awaited Ghostbusters,
yeah,
I must admit.
I know it's been a long time coming, isn't it? I do apologise if I keep sniffing. I seem to have something uncomfortable on my nose.
We seem to have come back with a little bit of a chill, I think.
We do. Now, this one, I actually posted it on our Facebook page. So anybody wants to go and have a look at it later. Obviously after the show, please.
Yeah.
Mothership drops aerial probe.
Oh, yeah.
The universe and its vastness holds the wealth of secrets unknown, but a piece of newly released evidence shines a light onto our shallow view of existence, challenging us to question the possibility of intelligent life outside planet Earth.
Mm.
The footage, filmed on November 20th, 2013, reveals a large UFO hovering ominously over Brazil. The spacecraft features a bevy of circular lights arranged around the sphere, with distinctly larger sphere positioned along the perimeter. Hanging beneath a set of 4 smaller orbs aligned form a tail. At 1:50, the mothership begins to eject light spheres from its base. Several seconds later, the entire tail becomes detached from the main craft, descending towards land at seemingly freefall speed. Rather than disappearing throughout the atmosphere, the light orbs behave quite unexpectedly, reassembling to form one collective sphere. From where did this luminous UFO originate? What does it intend to accomplish by dropping materials into Earth's aerospace? We have to presume the ejective orbs are probing mechanism used as part of an intelligence mission to gain insights. If so, what type of information does the craft intend to collect? Our blue planet is teeming with life. May seem a fluke in otherwise lifeless universe, but is it certainly the existence of extraterrestrial civilizations have evaded our technological grasp?
Well, Andy's turned into a monkey's uncle.
Yes.
Yes.
Well,
He's metamorphosized.
Well, you metamorphose. I'm going to turn this off a minute while I blow my
But yes, he says he's not convinced. Mind you, I think we still heard that. He says he's not convinced at all, and he's turned into a monkey's uncle. So that's where he's. I've not looked at it myself, but you know, so.
Well, the video is quite good actually. It's probably the best one I've seen.
Is it?
Yeah.
So, is that the best fake you've seen, or the best footage you've seen that could be possibly ufology?
There's a lot of focusing problems on it.
Yeah.
Which leads to the fact that it could be faked.
Yeah.
But it does look very good.
Okay.
It really does. So it is worth it is worth a look.
He says small blobs that goes off screen and then comes back big, very blurred, and bits fall off.
Yeah. So he's had a look at it, has he?
Oh.
Okay.
Okay. What else have you got?
Police in Indiana believe a local horse is haunted and infested with demons.
That's a house.
That's a house, not the horse. Street in Indiana is said to be occupied by hundreds of ghosts and demons. A local police captain believes that one of the houses on the street is where the strange things are coming from. The Huffington Post reported yesterday. A small house on Carolina Street in Gary, Indiana, has over 800 pages of official police reports of odd occurrences happening. There was a photo there of a strange fellow on the porch, which you couldn't really see. Couldn't really see that well. I think it's one I've seen plenty of time, to be honest.
Yeah.
City officials claimed that there are no inhabitants living in that house when the picture was taken. A police captain with the Gary Police Department says he believes that the home is haunted. The family that lived in the home fled due to the supernatural events. Residents of the house have experienced their children levitating, strange footsteps, odd behaviour from animals and insects. A family case manager and a family nurse even witnessed one of the children walking backwards up a wall. Psychics came and informed the last residents, Victoria Ammons and her grandmother Rosa Campbell, that the house was infested with over 200 ghosts and demons. According to the seers, the demons were attempting to possess Ammon's 3 children. The family said demons possessed Ammon's and her children, then aged 7, 9 and 12. The kids' eyes bulged, evil smiles across their faces, and their voices deepened every time it happened, one witness told the Indiana Star. Now, this was also reported on the Mail Online. A 9-year-old boy walked backwards up a wall, and the ceiling medical staff looked on after his mother claimed he and his 2 siblings have been possessed by demons. So there you go.
We have a Bill in the chat room. It's his first time here, so
Evening, Bill.
evening, Bill. Hope you enjoy it. Whereabouts are you from? If you can let us know. And Andy says, I'm assuming he was on about that. Here's some news. He said it's the first. Well, it's news to me, and he's a bit shocked. So carry on. Anything else?
Yes, I have. This one's just goes to show how arguments can get out of hand.
Right. Okay.
A man killed in an argument over a ghost.
Right.
Please forgive my pronunciations. This is
We're there again, are we?
Yeah, we're there again. Aminu Muhammad, a 32-year-old barber at Nasawam, has been stabbed to death by Nana Yoka or Joko,
Oh yeah.
a 20-year-old unemployed of Naswam Sakikrom. I'm sure I pronounced that wrong. District police said there was an argument between Muhammad and Yoka about whether ghosts exist or not.
Right. Okay.
Oh dear. And one for the people who like to see what people are doing in Hollywood.
Mhm.
Charlie Sheen flies into Scotland.
Oh yeah.
That's a bit. How we can fly into Scotland, I do not know. It's big enough, you know what I mean? You can miss it easy.
Yes.
Loch Ness Monster Hunt. Hollywood hellraiser Charlie Sheen has hit the Scottish Highlands in a madcap bid to find the Loch Ness Monster.
Right.
A 47-year actor flew over from the States on his private jet and based his hunt from a fairy tale castle on the southern shores of the loch.
Oh.
Now, we know that castle, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And I can't think what it's called.
Is it your Clark or something or other?
I know we got pictures of it
Yes.
when we went up there.
Yes.
Okay, here we go. This one we can actually find out later on tonight.
Go on then.
Psychic source predicts Broncos victory in the Super Bowl 2014.
Oh.
But then again, there's lots of predictions that says the Seattle Seahawks are going to win as well. So. But we will see.
We'll have to ask George later.
Yes.
See what he thinks.
Okay. And talking about our guest is a little teaser for you.
Mm-hmm.
Our guests tonight are authors of the Cydonia Codex Reflections from Mars, in what can only be described as one of the most important archaeological, sociological discoveries in human history. The Cydonia Codex offers overwhelming evidence of aesthetic and symbolic design on the surface of the planet Mars. The author's research encompasses over 10 years of study and analysis of NASA photographs of the face on Mars and its surrounding complex, beginning with the famous 1976 photograph of a mile-long formation found on the surface of Mars that strongly resembles the face of a human being. Haas and Saunders offer side-by-side comparisons of the art and sculpture of pre-Columbian Mesoameric, thank you very much, with a set of corresponding geoglyph structures found in the Cydonia region of Mars. The implication is staggering. Earth's history and humankind's origins could very well be very different than commonly believed. They include black and white photographs in this book. Mm-hmm. That was their first one, and they followed it up with the Mars Codex, more reflections from Mars. In a sense, it is a sequel to our first book. The new book showcases our steadfast commitment to a fair and objective exploration of the many anomalous structures that have been observed on Mars over the past 15 years. We have documented multitude of geoglyphs structures on the surface of Mars that appear to have a different correlation with the unique style of terrestrial artwork produced throughout the cultures of North and South America. So there's a lot of things that they're seeing up there that can be found here on Earth.
Yeah. Yeah, there is really, aren't there? And they're making the distinction of the two, and we'll be finding out a bit more about that.
We will indeed. Over to you, my dear.
So, well, there you go. That's the the observations for this week. We don't call it paranormal news because it's very hard to come by, isn't it, really?
Yeah, most of what you find it comes up as being news, and when you actually read into it, it happens
Years old. Yeah, so
I try and find little things that
but,
might make people smile, and most of them do tend to make me stumble a bit on some of the words.
Now you know why you're doing it, because I got fed up with stumbling.
well, next week you're doing it.
So, well, as I say, tonight we've got two guys coming on in a few moments, and they're going to be talking about their new book, The Martian Codex. They were also, as Steve said, they wrote another book prior to that, and they've also got a website out, which where you can actually see if you want to purchase their new documentary. You can do that there. We'll find out more about that in a moment. Later on, we have Barrie John coming on the show, and he's going to be talking to us about himself and what he's been up to and hasn't been up to, and his time on Most Haunted and stuff like that. So we'll be finding about that and where he feels as though his best investigations have been. So we're going to find out more from him on that respect. Maybe we can get some gen on some investigations that he's been on. What do you reckon, Steve?
Oh, that'd be good.
That
will be good. So I was just picking up on an email that's come in there, and from Jenny.
Yeah, no, I've seen that. Don't worry.
You've seen that one. Okay. All sorted.
All sorted. So anyway, just to let you know that the two guys we're going to be talking to is George J. Haas, H-A-A-S, who is the founder and premier investigator of the Mars Research Group, known as the Cydonia Institution, or Institute. Also, an image analysis artist, art instructor and curator who lives in Waterford, VA. Vancouver, I think. No, sorry, Virginia. That's right, yeah, Virginia. And William Saunders, if we manage to get in tonight as well, is his partner in the actual research, is a geoscience consultant in the petroleum industry. He is the associate director of the Cydonia Institute and the founder of MARS, the Mars Archaeological Research Society, and he lives in Calgary, Alberta. And over the years, among other things, they have seen a face they describe as half human, half feline, and a parrot-shaped feature on a mould of rock with 17 points of anatomical correctness. This is what they're saying, okay? Now,
but William might be a bit difficult to get hold of, though. Is he?
No, I think it's George is the one who wants to watch the Super Bowl, and we've got him.
Yes, but isn't William on a?
Oh, yeah, he's on a rig.
On an oil rig.
Yes.
So
and sometimes it drops out for 10-15 minutes.
Yes, because they get their internet through a satellite dish.
So what we're going to do is we'll probably talk to George for about half an hour or so, because he's waiting for the Super Bowl to start as well. So we might just get him in quick.
Yeah, I think the Super Bowl starts at 10. I think our time.
Yeah,
so we might
10:30. So we might just
just get him in time.
Yeah. So and I'm going to see whether he's ready.
Go for it.
I know we're 5 minutes early, and see what happens. And if he's ready, then we'll crack on to it. So see what we can do. See what comes up. See if he is ready. He's typing. Dun, 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 dun. Yes. Right, okay. Hello? Are you there?
Hello.
Hi. George?
Hi, this is George. How are you doing?
Not too bad, thank you. Nice to meet you at last. George, can you tell us a bit about yourself, please?
Yeah. My name's George Haas. I'm a member of the Society for Planetary Study Research. I'm also a founding member of the Institute, which back in 1991. And since NASA was sending out probes to Mars and to photograph the surface of Mars, I put together a group of concerned people that were interested in this idea. And we quickly put together a group, and we were waiting to receive some of the images that NASA was going to send back to Earth from Mars. And it was the spring of 1998.
Right, and obviously you got together with William Saunders.
Yes, I met William Saunders. He's a geologist from Calgary, Canada.
Mm-hmm.
We met on Richard Hoagland's discussion board on the Enterprise mission back in the day in the mid-1990s. He had a website that had a discussion board for common citizens. And I was one of the members on there. I had met Bill when the original first 3 images come down from NASA that included the base on Mars and some of the other areas surrounding on Mars and Cydonia. And a lot of people were really excited seeing these higher resolution images that we were getting that were a lot more crisp than we were seeing with the Viking images. On that discussion board, Bill, we started communicating back and forth, and eventually became fast friends and decided to put a book together.
Right, now you've called this the Mars Codex, manuscript of an ancient text. Yeah. Now we want to find out more about your research, and obviously we'd like to know, what was it about Mars that made you look further?
Of course, all this interest started with Hoagland's promotion of the face on Mars. We were very intrigued by this idea that there could be a structural surface of Mars that looked like a human face, and that's what led into all of our subsequent investigations. With the new images coming down from the Mars Global Surveyor back in 1998, the image that we were looking at, we felt substantiated Richard Hoagland's ideas that the face on Mars was a bifurcated formation, a human type of face on one side and a feline on the other, basically cut right down the middle. And the image seemed to support his earlier predictions.
Right, okay, it's all right. We're getting a bit of feedback with you, unfortunately.
We're losing the timing, I guess, back and forth.
Yeah,
I'm calling all the way from Virginia, back here in the old USA.
Yes, good old Virginia. Now, you've got the Super Bowl starting soon, haven't you? Is it you that is waiting to watch it?
I don't have a vast interest in the Super Bowl. My daughter is inviting us over to her fiance's house, and we're going to watch it with the family.
Right.
My wife and I usually go to Super Bowl parties, but we don't normally follow football.
Right.
But later on today, I'll be going out and participating in some Super Bowl watching.
Okay. Right, now with the glimpse that you are seeing that match what has been found here on Earth, it begs the question, did they come to us, or did we go there? After all, there is supposed to be advanced people here on Earth. There's a question for you.
Well, what we found on Mars is that the iconography that we're finding in the face on Mars, there's on the forehead, the face on Mars has this Egyptian-looking headdress that a lot of early researchers like Richard Hoagland suggested that this might have been Egyptian. But we found in the Mesoamerican also produced these similar type of Egyptian flanged headdresses, and they had the same type of emblem on the forehead that we were seeing on Mars.
George, can you hold on a minute? We've got William coming through.
Oh, great.
Okay, I'll just add him to the call. Hi, William.
Hello.
Hi, we've got George on the other line. Hopefully you can hear each other.
Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you. Can you hear William?
Yes, I'm hearing all three of you, or two of you.
Good. That's good. Good evening, William.
Good evening.
How are you?
Pretty good, thanks.
Oh,
Self?
good. Right, well, we've just been starting with George asking him. We'll come back to you on them questions, George. We've been talking to George about how you first met and everything. What's your take on this Mars Codex? What made you get into it, William?
Well, I first began getting interested in it in 1991 with Richard Hoagland's book, The Monuments of Mars. I had been aware of the face on Mars since it was originally made public in 1976 from the Viking orbiter images, and so I kind of was familiar with it since that time. But it was Hoagland's book that actually stirred my interest to a great extent. So I was anticipating new images from NASA, which, of course, we didn't get till 1998. And as George probably told you, that's where we met online.
Okay. Now, George, how are you actually seeing these glyphs? How are you finding them?
All the images that we're using in both of the two books and in this new documentary, Mars Codex, they're all available through NASA's websites. That's the digital imagery that comes down from the orbiters, and all images are readily available to the public.
Right. And as I was asking you just now, with all the glyphs that you're seeing that match what has been found here on Earth, is it possible that they are supposed to be advanced people here on Earth as well? Could we have gone there first, or vice versa?
Are you to me, George?
Yes, please, George. Do you want to continue that question we asked?
Yes. Well, that's an interesting question. From what we found, I'm not sure actually how these geoglyphs got on Mars. We can only speculate, but what will be very interesting is that all of the artwork and the motifs, the iconography that we're seeing have a direct correlation to the cultures of Mesoamerica, which opens up a whole other can of worms, as they about. What came first, the chicken or the egg? We don't really know how they got there. I'm assuming that whoever built these structures on Mars had an integral part in forming the cultures here on Earth.
Right. Okay. Now, there are ancient texts that mention someone being sent to Mars. Do you know of this, William?
Not sure. I know that in Zecharia Sitchin's work, he talks about Marduk being exiled to Mars by his, I believe it was by his father. I think George is familiar with that. However, we don't know exactly, time periods or anything like that, and circumstances. But as far as who built them and when, I think they've been built over. Well, obviously, there's so many of them. They've been built over a period of time. But what we have found is that there are examples of imagery that are, well, for instance, the Quetzalcoatl image is something that has to have occurred within the last 500 years.
Right.
Just because it was an Aztec depiction, and the Aztecs weren't around that long ago. So,
right. Do you know anything more, George? On this
on the line that Bill's talking about, the Mesoamerican connection with the Quetzalcoatl and the Aztec, we found that there's a little known city in Mexico called Naranjo, and the Naranjo culture, which is all the hieroglyphics have been deciphered by archaeologists, Bill and I. We had nothing to do with this research. This is all separate. You can do research, if the audience, if they'd like to go out and Google Naranjo, you find that according to their written records, there was a Star War. This is nothing to do with Lucas, but this is how it's written in the Maya hieroglyphs. They had a Star Wars with one of the Maya cities, also a place called Mars, which was the called Six Earth Place in the Maya language. Featuring a lot of this place was this monster, which is a symbol of Mars. So we have a record about this contact with this Sixth Earth Place, which is the Maya record for Mars, and this war that was going on. And interesting, the founding of Naranjo dates back according to the records. I mean, geologically, when archaeologists look at this, because only 1,000 years old most, but the records at Naranjo, founding of Naranjo, to about 17 to 20,000 years ago. And we're finding with the stuff we're seeing on Mars that possibly that could be a date that coincides with the building of all these structures that we're seeing on Mars, around 17 to 22,000 years ago.
Right, we've got a question in the in the chat room. Andy's asking, so which came first then? Which came first, things on Mars or those on Earth?
We're thinking that the structures on Mars probably were there probably after the human race.
Yeah. After the human race.
Oh.
William?
I'm sorry, you're breaking up on my end here. I couldn't hear your question.
The question in the chat room was, what do you think came first, the ones on our Earth or those in Mars?
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't know. I mean, what's dated the structures on Earth? The classic dating, I don't think is correct.
Yeah.
People such as Graham Hancock and others have done a lot of work in showing that some of these structures on Earth are actually much older than what the academics claim they are. So I would say that it's quite possible the ones on Mars came first, and the ones on Earth possibly later.
Right, our connection with George isn't very good at the moment, but George, can you tell us if you know roughly how old they might be, these things, these glyphs on Mars?
Like I said earlier, I think the number you're looking for is probably anywhere between 18 to 22,000 years ago.
Right.
I don't know if your audience is familiar, but there was a news report over the weekend within Indonesia. They just discovered which they thought at one time was the hill. The structure now they're finding when they were doing some excavation, it is a pyramid. It's in Gunung Padang in Indonesia.
Yeah.
And interestingly, it looks just like a Aztec or Mayan pyramid when they're doing the reconstruction of it. And they had been digging down into this structure, and as the further they go down, the older it gets. And interestingly, the number they're coming up with is 22,000 years ago. And this is setting the archaeological record on its head.
Right, okay. Now, you've been in with this research for quite some time. Do you think we will ever know the truth? And is it possible that Mars was just a way station or a stopover, as people have described many different types of beings?
You were talking to Bill or George?
Either of you.
Either one of you, if you can answer that question. What is your both proceed?
What is your views?
We'll go with William first.
Well, according to Sitchin, of course, he wrote extensively on this subject. And,
William, I'm afraid you're cutting out on us, my love. I'm afraid. You seem to have gone in the background.
He's in the tunnel.
Yes, I don't have a very good internet connection here. I apologize for that.
Right. Okay. Well, just to see whether that comes back in a moment, can we just give that question to George then? Sorry, George.
Could you rephrase that question again?
Yes, certainly. Do you think we will ever know the truth? And is it possible that Mars could have been a way station or a stopover point, as people have described many different beings?
Yes. According to Zachariah Sitchin, Mars was used as a station for the Anunnaki when they came to our solar system, and they used that to go back and forth to the moon and then to Earth. And according to his interpretations of the Sumerian text, Marduk exiled on Mars, and possibly he was responsible for building all of these structures as a blasphemous act against the Father, because in the Sumerian text, the Anunnaki hierarchy, the one that would be bestowed all of the knowledge of the Anunnaki history from his father, would be first born from a sister. And Marduk, although he was firstborn, he was born from an unrelated mother. And so he had a real problem with that if you read the history with the Sumerian text. Mm-hmm. And his brother, Ningasada, was actually the first son by a sister of his father. And so he was entitled to be bestowed all of the lineage. So when Marduk was exiled onto Mars because of all of his evil doings and trying to, he started wars and there was all kinds of problems. We're thinking possibly while he was exiled on Mars up there with the Iggy, he had gone around the planet and put these huge geoglyphs on the planet as a blasphemous act against his father to reveal the secrets of mankind to us, that someday when we go through and see them, we'd be able to put all this together and realize our whole creation story, which we think that's actually what we're seeing on Mars. All of these geoglyphs happen to a creation story we have mentioned in the Maya Popol Vuh. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. It does indeed. Now, obviously, you've been, as I said, you've been in this research for quite some time. How do you fund this? Is this all out of your own pocket, or, how do you go about this?
I didn't hear you. How do we go about what?
How do you go about funding your research? Is it out of your own pocket?
Through it doesn't really cost us much to do research because we basically get the images from NASA for free, and we do this all in spare time.
Yeah.
I am home all the time. I'm a kept man. I have a wife that is enabling me to stay home and do this research. Bill is works for the oil companies, and of course he's on the job right now. I think he's out in the field somewhere living in a small trailer.
Yeah.
And but we've been doing this for years, relying on books of our sales of our books to have a little income coming in. And that's one reason why we put out this Mars Codex, which is basically a movie trailer for our books. It gives the highlights of what we've been doing and what we found on Mars. And we've been doing this for close to 20 years now. So we have a lot of information, and we're just trying to get a larger audience and expose people to what we're doing. And that's one reason why we're on the KTP to expand the audience and have people interested in this.
Right, William, can you hear me? Are you back with us?
And hopefully we'll make a little money.
William, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Oh, that's better. We can hear you now. What about you? How do you find time for all this with your busy schedule on the rigs and that?
Well, it does take up a lot of time. I've cut back on it a little bit, but producing. He has
no dating life now.
Producing the 2 books and the DVD was very time consuming, so it was eating up most of my spare time.
Yeah, I can imagine. Now, which of all the glyphs you've seen would you say is the most significant? I'm assuming you've got maybe one each that you like?
Well, yeah, I like the one the most I would say we call him the Admiral. His image is one of at least 3 or 4 that we found on what is known as the main pyramid. And all the images we found there are half images, and his is the one that I like the most. The parrot is also very, very striking.
William?
Yeah,
sorry.
For myself, George speaking here.
Yeah, George.
My favorite would probably also be the parrot formation. I think that's, and only I have some favorites that most people probably wouldn't appreciate, but I think parrots become more of my favorite because I think most people can see it, and when they do see it, it really gets their attention.
Yeah, yeah. So you obviously have a website, themarscodex.com. Who runs that? Is that yourself, George?
Bill can tell you
Actually, I run the.
about this.
Oh, Bill runs it.
Yeah, I set up the MarsCodex.com webpage for to promote the DVD, which we just brought out in December. And George runs the Cydonia Institute website, which George and I are the directors of.
Right, okay. And obviously you can watch this DVD online, can't you? If you pay for it.
Yes,
yeah.
there is an online viewing. You can view it for a period of 5 days, subscription-wise, or there's the hard copy of the DVD, which is also available.
Right, okay. And I was about to ask a question, and somebody's put another question in front of me. Made me forget. Have you seen writings on these blimps that relate to languages here on Earth? Have you ever seen anything like that, George?
No, I haven't. Basically, what we're seeing is language. The face on Mars is a geoglyph. It's like a hieroglyphic that the Maya would make. The Maya did these spatial glyphs that had little tags and things, little other small little emblems around it, and it made a language. And that's basically what we're seeing. We're not seeing any writing as you would see with an Arabic type of scroll writing, or you would see, the alphabet that we have, or Egyptian type hieroglyphics in a row. What we're seeing are these huge glyphs that are telling a story, but there's writing in a sense.
Right. Andy in the chat room is asking, is there a way of seeing these images? Is there a link you can go to, as the Mars Codex website doesn't have any? Where would people find them? Bill? William, are you there? We seem to have lost William. George?
Yes. The viewers, if they'd like to see what they can go to the Mars Codex website, which is marscodex.com,
yeah.
Or they can also, if they want to see some of the articles and things that Bill and I have written about some of the formations that we found in these geoglyphs, they can go to the Cydonia website,
okay.
Which is easily accessed on the internet. And that is at theCydoniaInstitute.com. It's all one word, lowercase, theCydoniaInstitute.com. And we have a page there that has a lot of discussions and in-depth analysis of some of the structures that we're looking at. There's links to our books on the Cydonia Institute. There's also a link to the DVD, the Mars Codex website. Some YouTube links up there, and it's a great place to visit. And if you do visit it, feel free to order our books and the DVD.
Now, I've noticed on there, under your articles, you've got the dolphin and the mark that you've updated, haven't you? It's been revised this year. Why was it revised?
After appearing on we were on Coast to Coast when the DVD came out. We had sent out some sample copies of the DVD, promotional copies, and fortunately contacted us, and he had it on the show. And at the end of the DVD, we basically show there's some square formation that we've above the head of a dolphin in the Cydonia area, which is where the face on Mars is. And we had a lot of questions, got a lot of emails, and people sending us letters about this. And they were intrigued. They wanted more information about this formation. So we put up an article going into a little bit more depth about what we had found on the planet. Because the DVD is basically, as I said, it's like a trailer. It's tease, trying to get the information out there so people will be interested in what we're doing, and hopefully purchase our books to find out more about these structures. And we also have a science paper that was published in the Journal of Scientific Exploration of the parrot formation. And all that's in the DVD. And then at the end of the DVD, we suggest that possibly the signature of these builders of these geoglyphs is found on Mars. This half of an image of a compass and square. So if you viewers want to go to the Cydonia Institute website and go to the article section, or right on the toolbar, we've actually added a quick link to the new article that we put up about the dolphin and the mark.
Right, okay. Thanks for that. I've just been looking
So
at that
that's
page.
why that's up there.
Yeah, I've looked at that page, and you've also got the compass on there from the Freemasons, is it? The
Compass and square.
the
Yes,
compass and the square.
One of the things we found doing the research all these years was recently, actually in the fall, I had stumbled on this website that had this their logo for, which is in located in Abercrombie in Scotland.
Mm-hmm.
They use a compass and square that's made up of 2 oars from a rowboat, and the square is made up of the type of instruments you'd see on a boat, the rigging that you would tie the mast to and stuff like that. So it shows that you don't normally have to have the compasses as the symbol of a compass or a real builder square as a square. A lot of times you'll see that they do these, improvising the shapes with different, everyday objects like this.
Yeah. Can this not be a case of when you're looking at the sky and you're seeing things like pareidolia? Could that not be a case of, seeing things that you want to see?
A lot of people charge that, we're just seeing what we want to see, or it's like looking at clouds.
Yeah.
And the parrot formation, NASA has taken that there's 4 images of that. And each of the images verify that the formation is there. There's also the last image that they actually was one of the highest resolution pictures of the parrot formation. And that's the image that actually got us the paper published in the Journal of Scientific Exploration. We had been working on this for about 6 years, this parrot paper. We have Bill worked as a geomorphologist. We have a geologist, Michael Dale, that worked on the paper. We have 3 veterinarians that did the analysis of the parrot's anatomical shape. They found 17 points of anatomical correctness. Now, this goes way beyond any kind of cloud formation or some kind of rock formation you'd see in your backyard. This is actual detail. I mean, this parrot has structure to it, and it has all the features. It has a beak. You can actually see the tongue. Everything is in the right orientation. The veterinarian viewed this for very impressed from what they saw, and that's one reason, or the 2 reasons, we got this paper published. Testimony that's in the science paper from the 2 veterinarians, plus the 3 NASA photographs of this formation. So this is way beyond any kind of chance happening.
Right. Okay.
From
And
our standpoint,
Sorry.
from our
go on.
standpoint, the parrot on Mars is proof that there's structures on Mars. This is the smoking gun that people are looking for.
Yes.
It may not what they're looking for. That's what's there.
Is there anywhere where anyone can see this parrot? Nobody seems to know. It's not on your site, they said. Oh, have you? Oh, that's all right then. It's all right. We found a link. Found a link.
Well,
to something.
one of our colleagues, Jim Miller,
Mm-hmm.
he set up a website called Paratopia, which it's a simple Google search, and it has all the information on the parrot formation on there. It also gives all of the images. It gives a little background. The formation was found by an early member of the Cydonia Institute, Will Faust. Fortunately, the 6 years that we were working on the science paper, he had passed away. I think the 2nd or 3rd year into the paper. And so that website set up as a memorial for Will Faust, who was an anthropologist and a city planner that lived in Pennsylvania.
Right. Okay. And there's 2 books you have out, isn't there, at the moment?
Yes, we have our first book is the Mars Codex, which came out in 2005, and which a lot of the information in new Mars Codex documentary gets its source from that first book. And then there's a few things put in there from our second book, the Mars Codex, which came out in 2009. And also in 2011, we had the science paper published with the parrot formation.
Right. Okay. So, where do you want to go from here, George? I don't know if William's back with us at the moment. Are you there, William?
Yes, I am. Unfortunately, a lot of your Sound is cutting out on me, so.
Yes. Well, you did warn me about that, didn't you? Where would you like to go? Where would you like to go from here, William? What is your dream, for want of a better word, where the Mars Codex is all about?
Well, I'd certainly like to get a wider distribution of this information so that more people are aware of it. And then I'd like some professional movie makers to be able to put together all our information.
Okay.
Because I'm not a professional movie maker.
Right. And if
But I think we did a great job on this DVD, though.
yeah, don't knock yourself. What would you do? What would be the best question you would ask NASA if you had the chance?
Bill?
Bill?
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I'd like to know why. I guess that there's a lot of people out there who can do enhancements of these NASA images that are finding some pretty amazing stuff, and I'm just wondering why somebody like NASA, with all the technology they have, has to give us such poor quality imaging that amateurs can improve upon.
Mm-hmm. So you think that really they should open it up more to you and give you a bit more information of what they're finding?
A better quality information.
Yeah. So, well, I wish you every success with your book and your DVD. This will go out onto YouTube. So if anyone listens to it there, then hopefully they can go to your website, which again is marscodex.com, if that's correct. And also your other one, which was, can you mention it again for me, George?
What's that?
What's your other website, the original one, the Institute?
The CydoniaInstitute.com.
Right, okay.
And the viewers can go there and go through. We have the books listed there, the DVD. Also, this new article about the dolphin and the mark, which is basically the compass and square. And getting back to that image, I forgot to mention most important thing about the Scotland emblem for the lodge is that not only do they have a compass and square, it includes a dolphin, just like we're seeing on Mars. So that kind of blew us away when we saw that. And to answer your question about what's next, Bill and I are currently working on a science paper that we've worked on for a while now with a few members of the Society for Planetary SETI Research, and we're presenting that in April at the and Applications International Forum, New Mexico.
Can you say that
So
again?
we'll keep you updated on that.
Right, okay. Can you say that again, please? Because you just broke up then.
Oh, I'm sorry. Bill and I are working on a science paper with some members of the Society for Planetary SETI Research. It's a profiled image located on Mars, and it's going to be showcased at the Space Technology Applications International Forum, headed by John Brandenburg in New Mexico in April.
Wish you every success with that, both of you, and with your future research. We would like to hear more about it in the future and see where you're getting up to, if that's okay.
Well, hopefully when we get the science paper together, I'll contact John at the Society for Planetary Research, and maybe we can come back on and talk about it.
Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be brilliant. Thank you very much. I wish you all the best of luck with the Super Bowl. We had a psychic.
My daughter will.
Sorry.
My daughter will be pleased that you're letting me go.
Yeah, we had a psychic that said the Broncos were going to win. So you'll have to let us know.
Well, my wife has horses here on her farm, and she's rooting for Broncos.
Right, okay. Well, that's what the psychic reckons. So all the best of luck to you both, and to you, William. Thank you for taking time out of your work to come and speak to us.
Well, thanks very much. I apologize for the poor connection.
No, that's fine. No problem. Thank you very much indeed to the pair of you. Good luck, and have a great 2014.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good night. Well, that was them. Sorry about the.
That was quite interesting.
It was interesting.
I mean, the problem with these glyphs is that it's what you see.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll see one thing, we'll see something else, and that and stuff like that. They mentioned Murdoch there. Andy might be able to help me out here, but I think wasn't Murdoch a Mesopotamian god?
I'm not sure, to be honest with you.
Way back when.
You'll have to Google it.
I will.
Have a Google.
Either that or it's Murdoch and not Marduk.
So, you know, but yeah.
Sumerian Babylonian, he says. Yes, I remembered rightly.
You remembered rightly.
Yes, he was a god here on Earth. But he was by all accounts, he was a bit of a bloodthirsty god at that.
Really?
Yes.
Well, what did you think to that? We want to know your views. I know it does sound a bit pareidolia, which is what I said, wasn't it? Really, but he doesn't seem to think so. As far as he's concerned, you know, these pictures are coming from NASA. NASA have turned around and said X, Y, and Z, and you know, so NASA seem to, you know, believe in this, and you know, this is what we want to know. These people, we must, you know, if they've got something to tell us, we want to hear about it.
Yes, we do. On this particular occasion, Andy thinks they're talking twaddle. But it's
that's it.
The problem they've got is they're working from pictures that weren't taken from the rover. They were taken from the spacecraft as it passed over these areas, because according to NASA, they can't land the rover where these structures are, because the ground's unsuitable. Whether that's just their excuse for not going to the area, or whether they have gone to the area and not telling us.
Well, this is it, and that they're obviously, you know, they've got their DVD out there if anyone wants to have a look for themselves on MarsCodex.com, so you can see what happens there.
Yeah, I mean, I had they say a lot of all these so-called creatures, the rat and the lizards and stuff like that, are just rock form, odd-shaped rocks and not actual stuff.
This is it. So, well, we're going to pay our little advert, and I think then we'll go into.
But before you do,
go on then.
I was flicking through Facebook to see if anything was on there, and I've noticed that Philip Seymour Hoffman has actually died of a drug overdose. For those of you interviewing, he was in Capote.
You've lost me. Never heard of Capote. Let me have a look.
Capote was an Oscar-winning film. There he is.
Oh, right, yeah. Oh, yes, I do remember his face. Yes,
he was 46.
46?
Nothing, is it? I know it's Facebook, but I will go with this one because it's actually on Sky News.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's nothing, is it? 46.
Yeah, I think he did one of the Bond films as well.
Did he?
Yeah.
So
not sure which one now.
Yeah, it's a nothing film. Only 46. You know, but
it's no age, is it?
No, it's not no age.
But they reckon it was a drugs overdose. So.
Let's see. The price of fame at the end of the day.
Yeah, sometimes you just can't. You know, you can't take all the pressures.
No, this is it. Well, anyway, we're going to play our little ad, and then we'll come back and tell you what's happening on the events.
Go for it.
The Paranormal Intelligence Gathering Services Ghost Store is a one-stop shop for all of your ghost hunting gadgetry needs. Run by ghost hunters for ghost hunters, the shop is filled with all of the latest in investigation equipment, shipped in from all around the world, from high-quality digital dictaphones to EMF pumps, infrared illuminators to laser grid pens, CCTV equipment to data loggers. All of our equipment has already been imported, so you can buy it safe in the knowledge that there will be no hidden costs. And with our postage promise, you'll never pay more than the actual postage price. So visit www.the-pigs.co.uk/ghost store.
Yeah, well, that was the pigs advert down there in East Sussex. So if you, as it said, if you want some from paranormal stuff, then go and see them.
And they're pretty quick with their deliveries as well.
Yeah. So, well, we're a bit thin on the ground with the listeners this evening. I know a few of you
and
told us last week you wouldn't be here.
And Andy, I can see the parrot.
I can see the parrot from here, and I'm blind. Even the wings. But
I mean, that's not to say that it is a parrot. It could just be a rock formation that.
Yeah. But it would be interesting to know.
And
if it is what it is, it would be interesting to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some of these buildings they've found, whether something did go there and build them. But then again, how could they? It's supposed to be an atmospheric place, you know, a non-atmospheric place. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it is now. I mean, what was it then? I mean, if you think about it, what we're looking at here, if you was down there actually on the Earth, on the surface of Mars, you wouldn't see that.
No, you wouldn't.
So it's
well, they're getting them from NASA for some reason.
Yes, but what I'm saying is, it's like the NASCAR lines. You can't see them from ground level.
Yeah.
You have to be above them to see them.
Yeah, this is it.
So if that was actually man-made, so to speak, who were they trying to show?
Well,
show it to?
Yeah, this is it. You know, and they are, you know, like the dolphin and all this, that, and the other. But,
the dolphin I haven't seen.
No, it's on there. If you go on there. Cydonia Institute. Oh, excuse me. I've not been too good, I'm afraid. But yeah.
Gods. Yeah. I mean, that was what the NASCAR lines are supposed to be there because only the gods could fly. So.
Yeah, it has been. Unfortunately, it has been a quiet night tonight in the chat room, isn't it?
It has.
But then again, people do listen again, which we have noticed. So, but that doesn't mean they're real. I actually think, to be honest with you, it's got to be pareidolia. It's got to be like looking in the bloody clouds. You know what I mean? But you? Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, I can go with that to a point, but what they're saying is that they've actually had a veterinarian look at this, and it's anatomically correct to an actual parrot.
Anatomically correct to a parrot. So a parrot. No, sorry, I read you the wrong way. A parrot would look at that and say, "Yes, it's a parrot." What about to a human?
That's not what it means, Deb.
I don't know. Debs did say she wouldn't be here this week.
Yes.
And so did Lee.
Yes, she did.
So, you know, we did know about that. So perhaps we're not bringing on the subjects that people want to hear, but we're just trying to cover every single genre.
Yeah, and John's got problems with his internet.
Yeah, that's what I said.
And I think Doc's doing the Super Bowl.
Yeah, the Americans are obviously getting ready for the Super Bowl. So, you know, but and I'm waiting for our next guest to come online, which won't be until 10 o'clock, unfortunately. But I have texted him to see whether he'll come on earlier. So, because we are running forward, I suppose is the right word. He said perhaps we should go back to Wednesday.
Yeah, I mean, Wednesday was good, but it was a pain for us because it broke our week up big time.
This is it. So, I don't know, maybe Wednesday is a better day. I'll have to put it back on to, what's name again?
Put it back up there and see what people think.
Yeah.
See what our audience thinks.
See what our, yes. Because there's enough people in the actual group, it's just whether they,
whether they can get into,
you know,
to listen.
Yeah.
Mind you, Andy said that Sunday was a better day.
Yes, he did, didn't he? Yeah, he said it was a better day as well. Or he's saying Friday nights. Friday nights, people go out.
Yes. So, Friday and Saturday, investigations.
Yes. So, but
Used to be for me.
so even Wednesdays, you said you had to go to bed early.
Yes, because he had school the next day. Didn't
Yes. So, but we'll put it out there. So that we're getting the people on. They all want to come on. Now any night is okay. Yeah, but if it's a Wednesday night, people have got to get up for work. Sunday nights are supposed to do the same. But we don't have to have a late one, do we?
In a way, that's good, because that means we haven't got to go until 12 o'clock again.
No, it doesn't, does it?
Means we can finish earlier.
Yes.
Like we used to. I mean, sometimes it was 11:30, 12 when we stopped.
I know. People were wanting us to hang on a bit, wasn't they, Andy? Don't go, they used to say. But I don't know. Right, I'm going to do these events, get them out of the way, and hopefully Barrie John will come on Skype when he's hopefully a bit earlier. Right, okay, let's do these events.
Fed up of wading through the activities and events that other advertisers include? Find just what you're looking for at paranormaleventsforyou.com, your one-stop paranormal directory.
Right, okay, well the first one up tonight is just to let you know remind you about the 2 tours that are going on with 2 psychic mediums. There's Tony Stockwell's live tour. You can find out all about that and where he's performing at tonystockwell.com and click events, and also Derek Acora on his 2014 Enlightenment tour. Find out at derekacora.com. And if you'd like to go to a psychic supper in Leicestershire on the 6th of February, then why not pop down to Molly O'Grady's paranormaliuk.co.uk will be there 7 p.m. till 10 p.m. And on the 7th of February, didn't realise we was in February then, we've got compassparanormal.co.uk. They're going to Margam Castle. And on the 8th of February, they're off to Charlton House in London. Back at Molly O'Grady's on the 13th of February, there's another psychic night with paranormaliuk.co.uk. And on the 15th of Feb, Victoria House in Bridlington with with fromtheotherside.org.uk. On the 15th of Feb also, UK Shadow Seekers are going to Museum of Transport. And let's see what else we've got. There's the Blackpool Tower as well on the 21st of February. That's been run by, it's an evening of paranormal investigation with sas-pi.co.uk. And on the 22nd of February, pigs.co.uk are off to Valentine's Mansion in Ilford, wherever that may be. And if you'd like to find out more about that, you can go to the-pigs.co.uk, and you can get on with there. So that's the events.
So check out the one-stop paranormal directory for more investigations and events available now. Paranormaleventsforyou.com also offers banner advertising for only £10 per year. See our website for more details. Paranormaleventsforyou.com, your one-stop paranormal directory.
Yeah, so that's the events coming up in February, and you can find out more, as I said, on paranormaleventsforyou.com. Yeah, I think we might start a bit earlier on a Sunday. What do you reckon? And see whether that works. We used to start at 8, yeah.
Oh, let's turn that back on. Yeah, but you start at 8 o'clock, didn't we? So
yeah, so maybe we could give it a try.
Revert back to 8 o'clock and see how it goes from there.
Yeah, so take it from there. The only thing is with American viewers, it's like it could be 9 o'clock in the morning for them. You know what I mean? That's the thing, and for it's a bit.
Yeah, a lot of our guests are in the US,
Yes.
or released on that continent. Which is why we went a bit later, wasn't it, to try and help them?
To try and get them back on, so to help them as well. Okay, if we did go back to Wednesday, we'll probably get Ben Hansen
Ben back on.
But we'll have to see. Now, let me see. See if we can get hold of Barrie, because otherwise we'll have to wait 15 minutes. Well, nearly 15 minutes. He might come on a bit sooner. So, but let's see what happens. What we've got here.
What do you have there?
I don't know. I've got a load of
got a load of content.
I've got a load of Skype things coming up for some reason. What's this recent? Oh, that's that was from William earlier. So
yeah, I mean that was good of William. I mean it did go out on us a bit there, but he's when you consider he's actually on an oil rig and getting his internet through a satellite dish. That was a pretty good, wasn't it?
Yeah, this is it. So, but he's just come on and said, "Will we be long?" I said, "No, no, not really. We won't be that long."
We just want to know what you're doing.
Is that another one after the Super Bowl?
Yeah. Says,
so,
who is Barrie John?
Who is Barrie John? He is an enigma. So. But,
have you ever worked with Barrie, Andy?
Perhaps about Andy Owens, you never know.
He's gone. Well, he's not answering me at the present time. Nope, he says.
Right, okay. He said if we go for it now, we can get to bed early.
Cool.
So I'm just waiting for him to come through on Skype.
Yeah, I want to know what made him do Most Haunted.
Yeah. What made him? How long has he been a medium and this, that, and the other?
Because I can't remember how many he actually did. I don't know if it's just one. Because at one point they were doing a different medium, medium each week, weren't they?
Yeah, they were. So just waiting for him to come on Skype. As soon as he does, we can give him a call. Oh, hello. There we go.
You found him? Let's shut that door.
Yeah.
There's something going on the TV there. It sounds like somebody's getting shot.
Right, okay. So he's on Skype, but the video call bit isn't showing up. So I'm just here we go. Hi, Barrie.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, not too bad. How are you?
I'm very good, thank you.
Good. Now, Barrie John, psychic medium, would you call yourself? Now, how long have you actually been a psychic medium?
Myself, really, from being a child, really, to tell you the truth. I mean, it's something I've always been brought up with and grown up with, to tell you the truth.
Yeah.
So I've thoroughly enjoyed it.
Have you? So how was your first encounter?
How was it?
Yeah.
I suppose because I'd always been brought up with it, it was something that never really feared me. You know, it never made me afraid. You know, and it was something that actually I found quite comforting at the time. I mean, yeah, as a child, you know, I was scared from it. You know, you used to feel hands on shoulders, or people used to touch my hair or touch my head. And that used to be a bit scary, but, you know, I think then eventually it became such a great comfort to me once I started to realise that actually there was no harm in it, and these people really did just want to come and just say, look, you're okay, or you're right, you know, or we're with you. So for me, it was a major sort of comfort, really. But I appreciate, you know, that a lot of people nowadays, and especially younger children, you know, are very fearful of it because of what they see on TV and, stories that people tell them about being possessed and possessions and exorcisms.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes, we tend to blow things up a little bit too much.
Yeah, I can understand that. Now, the first time I saw you was on Most Haunted.
Oh, that's some time ago.
Yeah. Now, was that a one-off, or was you on more than one occasion?
No, we did quite a few shows with them, actually. We did, I think it was quite a few on Series 10, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
Then we obviously went off to do other things at the same time, so unfortunately we had to pull away from the show. But it was a good experience. It was something I thoroughly enjoyed doing. And I've got to say, what, there was a great team to work with. Really was.
Yeah. How did you get into that though?
Really, again, it was, remembering, and this is where people always get a little bit confused because, I've been in the market now since probably the early to mid sort of 90s, in terms of what I do. And, it took me, well, it was probably, was it about 2006, 7, I think, when we did Most Haunted. And, they approached us and we knew, obviously, various people in the market at the time, but they approached us and just asked us to go and have a little bit of a chat with them, really. So, obviously, I wandered up to Stockport at the time and had a chat with Carl and Yvette and the team and discussed some thoughts and ideas. And, obviously, I did Most Haunted. Then I did I think it was the Paranormal Debate show that they did after that as well.
Yeah.
I've been to a couple of their live shows as well in the background and done things with them. So, it really opened up, a lot of sort of doorways really for us, which was great, and one of the things I've always done is I've tried to get the message out there as much as I possibly could to people that, what we do, there is a very, very sort of serious side to it. It's not all about having a bit of fun, having a laugh at people's expense. But, there has to be an element of fun in what we do. Otherwise, some of these events that we do would be very, very boring.
Now, going on to the events, we see Barrie John doing an event with one team. This is a while back. And then all of a sudden, Barrie John is doing an event with another team and then another. And it looks like you've spawned these different groups, if you understand what I mean. It's like Barrie John with this group. And what
we've always...
Is it you that spawned them? Is it you that made these groups?
No, not at all. Good God, no, not at all. Not at all. We've always been what we refer to as a freelance medium, really. And, what people do for us is they approach us and ask us to go and basically do an event for them.
Yeah, and you do quite a few ghost hunt companies, don't you?
Yeah. I've got to be honest, we've narrowed it down a lot over the last few years because, number one, for me, I have another business that I run as well, totally away from the paranormal side, and it was getting a little bit too much for me. I wanted to retire probably 2 or 3 years ago, and in the end, I discussed it with a few companies that I did a lot of work with, and they said, well, we don't want you to retire. So I said, right, okay, I'll semi-retire then, because, you've got to remember, I was working full-time every week on my own business. Then on top of that, I got all the event side of things that I was doing. We was working every Thursday, Friday, Saturday night. We was working Sundays. And really for me, it began to take over my life a little bit too much.
Yeah. So what have you found to take you away from the paranormal?
What have I found?
Yeah.
Well, excuse me. We still do a lot of advising in the background for a couple of sort of radio and TV channels that we've worked with for quite a while.
Yeah.
But I've obviously got involved in various sort of event companies talking about other ideas, and one of the things that I've always done is I'm a professional Toastmaster, so I get involved in doing after dinner speeches for people and after dinner talks. And then I've also got a legal consultancy as well that I run in the background as well, that is totally away from the paranormal market, but people always tend to look at it, and think that we as mediums, make a lot of money out of what we do, and I can honestly hand on heart say, do you know what, I haven't, because what's funded my hobby is my main line of business. That's always been my main source of income, and that's where, I've had to make some very big commitments and say, right, which is the way that I want to go.
Yeah. Now, we've been asked in the chat room, who is we when you talk about we?
I talk about us as a company because we obviously have a management company behind us. We have an agent behind us as well.
Yeah.
When we talk of Barrie John, we're not talking of one person. We talk about us as a team, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. So apart from your mediumship work and working with certain ghost hunting companies, somebody said, is he selling fruit and veg? Is that what he does in his pastime?
Selling fruit and veg, is it? You know what? I wish I had time to do it. I really did.
It's because you mentioned the market.
Oh, right. I see. No, not at all. I mean, it's. You know what? The one thing that I've always loved about the spiritual field, let me say that, is you end up getting involved in so many things.
Yeah.
Whether that be the readings, whether it be public events, whether it be, private seances, workshops. And remembering also, I was on the East Midlands Education Board for the Spiritualist National Union for a number of years.
Yeah.
So I used to try and help people to develop their ability, let me say. And that's something, again, that I've been recently looking to go back into, because I do look at a lot of the people that come into the market nowadays, and I think, is there an element of training there still? I don't think there is as much as what there used to be.
No.
And I think also, that it's very easy for people to, it's very easy for people to turn around and say, oh, I've been to one sort of meditation class. Oh, yes, I can do it.
Yeah.
And the one thing that I would like to say that I've always tried to maintain is an element of professionalism about what I do. I don't fake things. There's things that I don't believe in. I'm very open and honest about what we do and don't believe in, because I think people's imaginations can run extremely wild with them on events at times. And that's not just the guests, that's, some of the mediums that I've seen work as well at the same time.
Yeah.
So, I always try to keep it very professional. The way that I talk to spirit is exactly the same as I talk to you and I talk to other people around me. I don't disrespect them. I'm talk to them very honestly and openly. So, that's how my connection's built up, really. And, we've done now, again, I lose track of this, but as a business, we've probably done somewhere in the region of 2,000 to 2,500 events. And, that's probably over the last sort of, off the top of my head, probably about 10 years. So, it shows you just how much we have got involved with. And, people are always approaching us with ideas. We work, a lot of the top sort of names out there know us very well and are good friends of ours, and they're always saying, oh, why don't you do this with us and do that? And do you know what? Sometimes you just have to get to a point where you slow things down. And that's what I got to a few years ago now.
Right. Now, talking about paranormal investigations.
Yeah.
Would you think, or would you say, that it's a person's perceptive when they walk into a haunted venue or a so-called haunted venue? Would you say it's the way they perceive the night's going to be to get the atmosphere they're going to get, sort of thing, and the reaction?
I think sometimes it can be, depending what group you've got on an event, and I'll say groups, and we'll talk about public events first of all. It depends what group you've got working with you, and I don't mean in terms of paranormal group, I mean in terms of guests and attendees. If people haven't gone there with the right frame of mode, and we all know what they like, people go in there thinking absolutely nothing's going to happen. If you've already gone in with that preconceived idea, then you're actually already creating that barrier to say, well, this is not going to work. And I think it's very easy for people to go in. And I think also remembering that some of the people that go into these events are very, very afraid of what is going to happen.
Yeah.
Because of the so-called films that are all out there in the market at times. People really do think that suddenly, they're going to start flying around a room and heads are going to come off and start rolling across the floor.
Yeah.
And, I think it's that fear factor. And the one thing I always say to people is, when you come to an event that I'm on, number one, I want you to enjoy it. I want you to have a laugh with me. I want you to have some fun with me.
Yeah.
But also there's an element of serious side that we're doing here. We want to try and provide some evidence that there is some sort of proof of life after death or continual evolvement. And I think it is so important that whoever turns up at these events goes with that open sort of mind to think, right, if something happens, great. If it doesn't, not a problem.
Yeah.
But that's why I've always done experiments on events, and whatever that is, whether it be, using Ouija boards, table tipping, glass moving, anything, pendulums, just really to give people the experience of something else on an event.
Yeah. Yeah.
And people very often say to me, you do private messages on events. And I say, yes, I do. But all I will give is a very quick snippet of if I think somebody's mum or dad or loved one or partner, whoever it is coming through. And I will tell them. And this is where I love working with Ouija boards on events, because I can tune in very quickly to a Ouija board, and I can always guarantee that family members will come through because I will push them through first. And people can get that first sort of hand experience of talking to their mum or their father or whoever it is that's passed, and just getting a little bit of information from them that only they could possibly know.
Steve's got a question for you.
Yeah. Hi, Barry.
Yeah. Hiya.
Going back a little bit to I think what Sue was trying to get at. Could we be making things happen with our own perspective of what's going to happen on the night?
Well, yeah, it's exactly the same. It's exactly this. It's exactly the same as what I've just said, really, in terms of people's perceptions of when they turn up at an event. If you turn up with nothing's going to happen, then it won't. But if you turn up with the attitude that something will happen, then it will on the night, and that could be as minute thing as possible, whatever it is. But I think also, I think there's a willingness there. I think if you're trying to ask me, can we as individuals almost fake something to happen, then I'd probably have to disagree with you on that, because that isn't the way that I would work.
I don't mean deliberately, Barry. I mean with the power of our own mind, we are actually making the paranormal activity happen.
Oh gosh, yeah. I mean, remembering, we have big sort of, one of the things I always talk about on events is things like the ideomotor effect, because a lot of the time, is it us that's doing it? Is it spirit that's doing it?
Yeah.
Is it us consciously that's doing it? And I think this is really when the proof starts coming through, where people need that proof of information to say, actually, I know that wasn't you that was doing that. And again, when I'm on an event with any guest, I will never touch any of the equipment unless somebody specifically asks me to work with them on it.
Yeah.
I will come back. So if people are doing Ouija board or the table tipping, glass moving, I'll always stand outside the circle and almost like protect them from a distance, but I'll still be tuning into it. So, I think again, it goes back to what we said, how many times have we seen it on an event where people have pushed the glass, and you can physically tell when somebody's pushing it.
Mm.
All you've got to do is watch how their hands positioned, fingers are positioned, and it's no different to using a Ouija board or anything like that. And how many times do guests turn up and want to spook their friends out on an event? That's the other thing that tends to happen a lot.
Yeah, yeah. Now, you mentioned about bringing people's loved ones through.
Yes.
Is that okay to do? Because sometimes I've seen on events that I'll watch somebody on the glass or something, and all of a sudden their grandmother's here, and is that okay to do, or is it okay? Because I've always looked at it as the people have paid to see what's in the building, not to listen to you and your grandmother. You know what I mean?
But that's really down to the individual's choice, isn't it? That's why I say I won't give a full reading, because that's fair on anybody. But what I would say is, your grandma's here, she's telling me this, she's giving me this name, she's giving me this information, thanks very much. Right. It's not a fact that suddenly you go into a two-way communication mode, because that's extremely unfair.
Yeah.
And remembering, I'll always let the guests lead what they want from this, and yet ultimately, if I'm in a building, I want to be able to provide information that, there is something here that relates to this building. Not necessarily a haunting, because actually, I believe spirit have free will and they can go wherever they want to go, exactly the same as us. But really, it's down to the individuals, what do they want? But if I knew we were in a room and I'm thinking, actually, this room is as flat as anything, there is nothing going to come through here, then in my mind, I would open the doorway up and start bringing in some means of communication via another source.
Yeah, right. So you have had quiet nights, so to speak.
Oh, always. I've got to, and people, again, people's perception, and again, this is brought through via television programs, etc., that we've all watched, is that you walk into a room and suddenly everything starts happening.
Yeah.
You know, and that is never ever the case. I mean, programs that I've filmed before, and remembering, you know, you're not just talking Most Haunted. I've done other filming and clips, etc., of people, but some of those are filmed over anywhere from 24 to 48 hours to provide 1 hour's worth of a show. You know, I guarantee that a lot of the time you just sat there twiddling your thumbs, thinking, "Is something going to happen here?"
Well, this is it. So where have you been that have actually been really, really activity-wise? You know, what places would you recommend?
Oh, blimey. I mean, I've got some real favourites in the UK, you know. I mean, one of my all-time favourites, and I have to go with this because I've done such a lot of work there, is the Galleries of Justice at Nottingham.
Right.
A couple of the other venues that I thoroughly love are Margam Castle, Chester Mansion, I love Hyde Town Hall.
Really?
Yeah, and you know, these are real sort of...
Have you been there since they've blocked off all the accesses?
To which one, sorry?
Hyde Town Hall.
I haven't, no.
They've stopped a lot there.
And that's a shame, isn't it? That's a real shame, because I mean, I remember going up there when it was all open. You know, you could even see, you know, what was left of the remains of the morgue outside and the old prison cells outside. You know, it was a real great sort of venue. But you know, this is where again for me the market has took some massive turns.
Yeah.
You know, I think the cost of venues is absolutely ridiculous now. You know, they've really seen this as a money-making thing.
Oh, yeah.
The cost of tickets have had to go up, which means that people can't afford them, which means, you know, people aren't booking the venues anymore, you know. And I've done venues, even when I used to run my own events years ago, you know, probably 12, 14 years ago. You know, and some of those events, you know, were getting on for like £1,500, £2,000 a night, and people don't realise this.
No.
You know, this is what makes the tickets expensive. It's not that the companies are making a lot of money out of them, and yet, you know, at the end of the day, people want to make something out of them. But it's the venues that absolutely crucifies it, and obviously insurances.
Yeah. Do you feel that there's been talk that it's dying? What would you say to that?
In terms of, when you say dying, do you mean in terms of the paranormal event side of things?
Yeah.
I think the paranormal event side of things has took such a major hit over the last couple of years. I think in terms of mediumship, you're on a very different field. You know, I think people still want mediumship. I think they still look for support. They look for proof. They look for guidance. I think in terms of, as I say, venue-wise for paranormal events, I think for me what's killed it is probably the events getting so expensive.
Yeah.
You know, and remembering that when people go to these events, you really want something that's very historic. You want somewhere that's got some history, not just to turn up to an old house that doesn't have any sort of evidence or proof.
No.
You know, and I mean, we've all heard stories, you know, of you know, buildings that supposedly haunted, and you know, the amount of people who have been in time and time again and heard nothing.
Yeah.
And you know, the best people I find to talk to at times are, you know, the sort of like the employees that run the events or run the business itself, because you know, they'll always say, oh yeah, we've heard this, we've heard that noise, we feel uncomfortable here.
Yeah.
Great, you know, that's exactly what you want to hear when you're booking a venue. And it's quite strange really, because I remember one venue years and years ago, we went to book it for an event. And I always remember the lady that answered the phone said, oh, no, this place isn't haunted. You don't want to come here. And I thought, what a great selling tactic.
Yeah.
It was almost like, you know, you're telling people already that there's absolutely nothing there. You know, and, you know, credit due to her, you know, at least she was honest.
Yeah, this is it. Well, we've all heard about the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall or something. Yeah. We actually rang them up ages ago and they said it wasn't haunted at all. You know, but we've actually looked at new places this year, haven't we?
Yeah, we have.
For us, anyway. Things like Penulan Hall and Saltmarsh Hall. You know.
Yeah.
So we thought, you know, because sometimes the way I don't know whether I'm thinking right or wrong, but it's the same old all the time. You know, apart from the bigger venues like the Woodchester Mansions and stuff like that. But most of it's just everybody does there. You know.
Yes.
So
week in, week out.
Week in, week out. You know.
Yeah.
We went through a stage at Bolling Hall, and we thought it had been done to death. You know what I mean?
And do you know what? I think sometimes, you're absolutely spot on. I think it kills the venue. You know, because it's almost, I mean, you can imagine these poor old spirits up there thinking, oh God, here we go again. Another Saturday night. I mean, we don't get a night off at all. And you can just imagine them sat there thinking, I'm absolutely sick and tired of this.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's why, as individuals, we have to respect that some of the venues we go to, one time might be very active, but then the next time we go, it might absolutely be nothing. You know, and that's the free will for me of how spirit work. You know, sometimes they want to talk, sometimes they won't want to talk. They're no different to any of us.
Yeah, we get a lot. Some of the places we go to, we get something happen, but most of the time, it's always a personal thing they take away.
Yes.
You know, you're guaranteed a personal. Somebody who may have felt touched or, you know, a hair pulled or something, but nothing that everyone's seen, sort of thing. You know, but at least they've taken something away.
Yeah, and do you know what? I agree with you. You know, and I think it's that smallest piece of evidence that people take that is important. And I think one of the reasons nowadays that we don't get good sort of paranormal events and good sort of information is because how many times have we all seen it where we're with a group of people and we'll walk in and somebody will start messing about, or somebody will just sit there and think, oh, I don't want to join in, I don't want to be part of this, I don't believe in it.
Yeah.
And it's so hard, you know, and the times when I've walked into rooms with with a group of guests, and they'll say within the first 2 or 3 minutes, oh, it's boring in here, there's nothing here, and you think, you've not even given it time.
No.
And I try saying to them, you know, when I used to do private investigations, more of them, you used to sit in a room for 2 and 3 hours at a time.
Yeah.
You know, there'd maybe be 2, 3 of you, and you'd talk to each other about what you were picking up, but you wouldn't go in there with this negative mind thinking, well, actually, it's nothing in here. You know, you've got to give it that opportunity to build up that sort of evidence, that energy, getting it working. And that's where it's so important, you know, on events when I do them, you know, I'll get people, you know, rubbing their hands, you know, whatever, moving about a little bit, you know, and there's nothing worse, is there? You know, we've all seen it when you get to the 2, 3 o'clock time in the morning when everybody's tired and wanting to just bed. You know, you get the paranormal snorer that always gets involved somewhere. You know, and it always happens, you know, but you've got to keep going. If that's what you're going for, you've got to keep going. And sooner or later, somebody will get that one little bit of information that thinks, I'm absolutely hooked now. There is something there that I cannot explain. And that's what matters to me. It's getting that little bit of information that me nor anybody else can actually explain, because that's the bit there that I say is paranormal.
Yeah. Steve?
Yeah, I was just laughing about the paranormal snorer on one event we did. It was actually the medium that fell asleep.
I remember going.
He's no longer with us now, bless him.
I remember going to an event once with a deaf medium, and that was even more funnier.
Oh God! Well, the way we normally work at UK Shadow Seekers, you've obviously heard of us.
Yes.
Is that we basically tell them that at the end of the day, they've paid their money for this.
Yeah.
So they've got to get involved. So we get them involved with all the experiments, you know what I mean?
We're not doing it.
We're not doing it. It's their night, you know.
Exactly.
And we tell them straight that, you know, you've paid for this, you know, you've got to get involved, otherwise you won't enjoy it. And if they don't enjoy it, they get bored. If they get bored, they get tired, and the energy dies.
Yeah. So,
and do you know what? You've just took the words that I say to them. I always turn around and say, remembering that you've paid to come here tonight, what you get out of this is exactly what you put into it.
Yeah.
You know, and you've got to do it. And you know what? In a way, it sounds really very blunt and quite sort of, you know, rude, I suppose, in a way, you know, but it's the only way that you make people realise that, you know, you and me and others like us are there for a specific reason. And we're not there for me or you.
No.
We're there to make sure people have an experience.
Yeah, we're not a follow and watch group. They can sit at home for free and watch most haunted reruns.
Of course you can.
You know.
Yeah.
But we always say to them, tonight is your crash course into paranormal investigating.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And what happens, and and it's not all bang, bang, bang. Like it is on the telly.
And we always make at least one person write everything down.
Yes.
We tell them that's the important bit, getting the evidence to check later.
Yes. So we always get one person writing down on that, on that vigil.
And that's important as well, isn't it? Because how many times do we stand in a vigil?
Oh yeah.
And you'll come out and somebody will say, "Oh, while I was in there, I felt really lightheaded," and somebody else say, "Oh yeah, and I felt as though somebody was touching me on the back or whatever."
Yeah.
You come out and you think, "Why didn't you say that when you was in there?"
This is it.
And it is so important. I mean, the way that I always say it, it's like catchphrase, isn't it? Say what you see, whatever you get it. Just say it. Go with it. You've got to do.
Well, I give a little analogy at the beginning of the night where everyone laughs. I tell them that if they think they see a monkey in the corner doing something it shouldn't have done, then say it, because for all you know, somebody could have had a monkey that was a little bit naughty.
Oh, God, yeah. And do you know what? It's true, isn't it? And how many times it takes one person to speak up, and suddenly when one person's spoken up, everybody else starts saying, "Yeah, and I've seen that, and I felt that, and yeah, I heard that noise." And it is so important, and I think there's nothing worse than doing an event where people don't talk.
No, this is it.
Because actually, for me as a medium, I get very bored by it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
And you almost end up thinking, what am I doing here? And I always say to them, I'm not being funny, it's easier talking to the dead on a Ouija board than talking to you lot. And it is, isn't it, at times, and people... I mean, they either love me or hate me. I have a weird sense of humour and a wicked sense of humour as well. But the reason I'm like that is because I seriously believe 110% in what we do. I want people to have a means of an experience.
Yeah. Talking about the Ouija board, why do you think people are a bit frightened of it? Some people seem to have a friend that had a problem with it, or when they were a kid they played with it, and and now that scared them. But why will they not understand that it's not that bad? It's just your perception.
It's a tool, isn't it?
It is, and yeah, you're right. And same as anything we use, it's a tool. And the way that I always say it to people is, as a medium, you're the best tool that you could ever have. You really are. And remembering that's not just talking as us as mediums, it's talking to people that go to events who have psychic ability. It's exactly the same. But I think one of the biggest things is you look at how any sort of paranormal Ouija board, any tools are portrayed in the market, and they're all portrayed as very sort of negative, evil, unlucky, all people that have touched a Ouija board, suddenly all these things have happened in the family, and and you think, actually, you know what? And that's why, for me, it is so important when I use a Ouija board. And I mean, I've used a Ouija board from probably 12 years of age off the top of my head now, somewhere around there. And I've brought through some really lovely personal messages using a Ouija board, especially in private seances with people.
Yeah.
I do that is because people get that first-hand experience of name being spelt out that means something to them, or they get some information that means something to them. It's so personal.
Yeah.
But people's... Do you know what? It's no different to when people first walk in a building. Their imaginations can run rife. And I've seen this when I've done events. And you'll always get, and pardon how I'm going to say this, but you always get the so-called sort of up-and-coming medium, let me say, on an event, and suddenly there's something that's very evil in that corner there, and there's something with red eyes in that corner there, and oh God, something's going to attack me in a minute.
Yeah.
Sometimes I stand there and I just shake my head as if to say, what are you on about?
We've had that.
Yeah, and you know what? What always gets me is when you go to some of these really beautiful places, Bowling Hall.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely venue. I love Bowling Hall. Why would you have something that was so evil and negative in a place like Bowling Hall?
Well, I can tell you a story about Bowling Hall.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. Well, when we were there once, when we was leaving, the guy there, I can't remember his name, but he said, make sure you take everything with you. I said, yeah, we've got all our equipment. He said, no, I mean take everything with you. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, we had a group here a while ago, and when we finished, they left, and I was just locking up, and I saw something run up the stairs. And he said, to be honest with you, the only thing I could describe it looked a bit like Gollum. Yeah.
Right.
So I said to him, really? And he said, yeah. He said, well, the group came back the other week. I said, yeah. And they actually asked me whether anything happened after they left. And I told them what I saw. And they said, oh, sorry, that was our fault. It had followed us from the Hellfire Caves.
Okay. Okay. Did you get that? I don't know if you got that impression in my mind then that I was giving off a little bit.
Now, when you think of things like that, you get a lot of people at the end of the night saying nothing's going to follow me home and all this, that, and the other. What's your feelings to that? What do you say to them?
Well, do you know what? Personally, for me, I don't believe in it. I really don't. You know, the spirits are there because they're there for a reason. They belong to that building.
Yeah.
But also, any loved ones are there. They don't want to stay there. They want to go back home where they belong, or go back with their loved ones.
Yeah.
And I'm sorry, I really have this very strong perception. Put it this way, for me as a medium, do you know what? They don't follow me home. The only people that come home with me is the guests or the guides that I took with me.
Yeah.
I don't want people who belong to Woodchester Mansion, the Galleries of Justice, Bolling Hall. I really, really don't care. It's like, yeah, that's where you belong. That's where you stay. That is your home.
Yeah.
So I don't always believe in that. And the other thing that I don't believe in is, when anybody gets a spirit, they all need rescuing and sending to the light.
Oh, yeah.
And again, it's people's perception, which, is great. But, come on, this is reality. It's not watching a film on TV where suddenly somebody's going to jump out your television set or whatever, and it's getting back to a bit of reality, isn't it? And we don't run around, I know how you guys work, and it's funny, isn't it? Because we all know about each other in the market because we've all been there so long.
Yeah.
But none of us run around screaming and shouting, saying, oh my God, it's going to attack me. Oh my gosh, it's down, and it's all those sort of strange things, isn't it? What people with in terms of their, let me say, imagination. And it does get a little bit too far-fetched at times. The amount of people I've had to pull to one side on an event and just say, look, you might be picking something up, but just be sensible about it. Slow it down a little bit. If it's a technique you want, that's a different thing. But don't try and make this into something like a freak show.
Yeah, well, this is it. We had one person come on our investigation, and she'd never been on one before. And she didn't believe in it all. By halfway through the night, she was a medium. Like you say, them type of people, you know what I mean? She was getting this, she was getting that, she was seeing this, seeing that, and I'm like, yeah, right, okay.
and do you know what? Those, and again, I've always been known to speak very blunt, but they're the sort of people that do cause a lot of damage to people in the market because, you'll probably find people like that will suddenly set themselves up as a medium and start giving readings to people.
Yeah.
The amount of people who've approached me at times and you think, who has told you that information? Where did they get that information from? And, again, I'm a firm believer, people will always say, oh, spirit will never give you future. Do you know what? For me, they do.
Yeah.
And they tell me to tell people, oh, watch out for this month, or there's good news coming here, or, there's good news about your job, whatever it is. They won't tell me everything.
No.
Almost as though, they just want you to have a little bit of an insight to think something better to come. But, we do have to go with this sort of open mind. We really do. And that's what I always work with, to be honest.
Yeah. So what's next for Barrie John? What's he up to now?
Well, we're up to a few bits this year. We've just signed up with a new management company and agency just before Christmas. So we're doing lots of talks with them at the moment. We're in discussions with quite a few venues in Nottingham at the moment to do some other things, I want to say, in Nottinghamshire, really. I've had my fair share of ghost hunts, and I'll always continue to do them.
Yeah.
I want to do some other things. So I'll be looking at, after dinners, sort of demonstrations more, doing after dinner talks with people, because people are so fascinated by the market of the paranormal and some of the things that have happened in it. So I think it's so important to get that message out. And I am looking back to go onto the education board as well. So for the Spiritualist National Union. So we're looking at that at the moment as well. But really just probably taking a little bit of a step back, to tell you the truth, for the time being. comfortable doing what I'm doing at the moment, and it gives me some time to plan a few things. So, I think this year is going to be quite eventful. We still obviously in discussions with, as you know, with ITV. We do quite a lot with ITV and channels. So, just keep watching really. But anybody that's interested, we've got a couple of events coming up. I'm doing Castle Keep in Newcastle, which is the first time I've done that. That's in a few weeks' time.
Mm-hmm.
I'm doing, I think it's Newsham Hospital in Liverpool.
You like that?
You didn't like it?
No, I said you will like that.
Oh, brilliant. Oh, that's good then. That's good.
Yeah,
and I think that's about March, April time. So, there's a few events coming in, but I mean, really for me, it's looking at bigger things. We're still talking about doing a tour either later this year, next year. And that's where I want to put my energy into it, really.
Right, okay. One question that's coming, referring back to telling the future. They're asking how and why would the dead know the future?
How and why what, sorry?
Would the dead know the future?
Because at the end of the day, they know more about us than we do ourselves.
Yeah, there is.
They really do, and why would they be able to give us so much information about ourselves if they didn't know enough about where we were going and what was happening? And, it's not always about the future, remember. This is where, I hate people talking to us as fortune tellers and referring to us as fortune tellers, because all that I tend to get from Spirit is, look, I don't know, the month of March is a good time around your work, things are going to happen or relationships, and they'll always give me specific months to aim things around, but they won't me and say, oh yes, you're going to meet a person called Matthew and, he's going to be 26 years of age and he's going to be blonde haired and all this sort of thing. It's almost like, no, hang on, that's too much information.
Yeah.
And I do believe, Spirit will tell you almost what you need to know, not what you want to know. So that's the way I tend to work. But, I do believe that they know better than all of us. And, from my personal point of view, I do believe that in reincarnation, I believe that our lives are all mapped out for us before we've even got down here in terms of what we do, where we go, what we learn.
Yeah.
And I think us ourselves have a big part to play in that before we come back down here to say, actually, this is one of the things I want to try, or this is something I want to experience down there. So that's how I tend to work with it, really.
Well, I hope Spirit knows what's happening with me this year. I need it better than 2013.
Good luck to you anyway, and well done on the business front. I hope you guys are keeping busy.
Well, we hope to be, yeah. So, but is there something you wanted to say, Steve?
Yeah, I mean, are we saying that relatives, for instance, they can actually, for the want of a better word, that they can read the book that's saying where we're going?
Exactly. That's my view of it altogether.
Yeah. Right, okay. Well, thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Barry. That's one good way to end it, I think.
Brilliant, and you're welcome, and it's been lovely chatting to you guys, and have a great evening.
Thank you, and hopefully we'll get you on the show later on in the year.
You're more than welcome anytime. Take care.
Thank you, Barry. Bye.
Bye.
Well, that was Barrie John.
Well, he seems a very nice chap.
Yes, nice way to end the evening, wasn't it? So, but Andy, sceptical as usual, says that's a contradiction, reincarnation and total fatalism
don't work
together. So you reincarnate in order to advance, but it is mapped out. If it's mapped out, what's the point?
No, it's what's here is mapped out. When you're here on Earth, that is what they say is mapped out. When you get on the other side, that's all up in the air again.
Yeah. So, but we'll
I hope it's all up in the air anyway, because I wouldn't know.
Well, I'm hoping there are people out there to meet me when I die. So we'll see what happens. Won't we, Steve?
Oh yes.
So
And if I go before Andy, I'm gonna go and haunt him.
Well, we're gonna love you and leave you. I think it's that time now. Next week, just to let you know who's coming on. It's Ryan Goodin, and he's a medium, and he's going to tell us some fortunes apparently. So he's on next week. That is the 9th, isn't it? God, my brain's gone. So yes, we've got Ryan Goodin on next week, and then the week after we're back with zombies.
Back with Zombies.
Yes.
Where are we going with Zombies?
D.A. Roberts is coming on to tell us about his new book.
And that's the guy that did the I can't remember what it's called.
That's Not
That's
Rising.
it. That's Not Rising.
And also, GC UK are coming on to tell us about their group. And we've got other people coming on. One guy wants to pop in and talk to us about his Borley
Rectory, yes.
Rectory thing,
yes, the
doesn't
investigation. Yes,
so,
he asked us on the main page there.
Yes.
And we'll be getting in touch with him.
You know, Barrie John says, thanks, darling. Fab show, and thanks again. Anytime I can help, please do get in touch. Thank you very much for that.
Nice.
So anyway, don't forget, we are a bit few on the ground today, but most of them will be back next week. They did promise, didn't they? So,
they did.
You know, so hopefully we get more in. But it doesn't matter. The elite are still in the building or in the chat room.
Yes, they're still here.
So, well, thank you very much for listening, and don't forget,
This is where it's at.
and we'll be here at the moment, won't we? So
We will.
To see in the night.
Till
to
next
measure
time,
the spike,
keep
to
the
see
paranormal
how
friendly.
cold it's
Good
been.
night.
Yep. Don't forget,
I buy
guys.
my kit
Good night.
so I won't forget the ghosties that I have seen.
We've
The
got
Paranormal Intelligence Gathering Services Ghost Store. So visit www.the-pigs.co.uk/ghost store.